Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. I am Matt Sitsudi, along with Brother William. I knew you'd come. And the Darkwing, Brian Daly. This is the Hockey Happy Hour live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And we're brought to you by the Scanzano Sports Center located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. Well, a lot has changed since we last were here. Is this a new table? I think it is. I could be wrong, though.
It's a quite beautiful table.
It is. It is a nice, beautiful table. But besides the table changing, a few other things that have been going on is we've been looking through the world of hockey, and one person is calling it a quits. Another person is been signed after we were talking about why the hell is he still available. And now we will also be talking about the Philadelphia Flyers, who have basically just been bracing for impact, if you will, because hockey season is literally just 1 month away. The preseason is only 2 weeks away.
Oh, it's so close you could taste it.
I know. And the Flyers season is going to be an interesting one, that is for sure. As a team in progress, the youth will be here. In what capacity, we will find out. And not only that, we will also find out if Brian Elliott still has a little bit of that magic he had a couple years ago that led St. Louis to the Western Conference Finals. Hopefully he does. And we'll also see if Dave Haxtell can continue his winning ways as the head coach and continue to bring in his perspective into the Philadelphia Flyers as we continue to trek through the Ron Hextall era.
Very eloquently stated there, Matthew.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother William. And we will now go through the Flyers schedule and see what key games will be available for the Philadelphia Flyers, because there's some big ones coming up. Obviously, we have the Twitter poll out that will give you just a few choices, and there's also the other choice, which you could feel free to comment on Facebook as well as on the YouTube. We are also on Facebook Live if you want to get in on there. Join the chat on YouTube as well as post something out on Twitter with your answer saying, actually, I'm looking forward to them facing the Penguins, or I'm looking forward to them to facing off with the New Jersey Devils, or what have you. Basically, the Twitter question goes into a few games, and that is the home opener and the game against St. Louis, better known as Braden Chen returning, as well as Steve Mason returning. And, of course, then the other, as you could choose, whichever one you will. But other than that, though, gentlemen, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm waiting for some home cooking, too. I like that home opener versus the Caps. That's one to salivate against. But there's a lot of good games, going on this season. It'll be interesting to dissect, which ones are going to be the ones we circle on our calendars.
It will be. It very much will be. So, without any further ado, why don't we get looking into the Flyers season? Now, I will highlight the preseason, and the only reason why I will highlight the preseason is because of one simple phrase, one simple name, and one simple word. Nolan Patrick possibly starting.
Yes.
Possibly. That's the reason why you should highlight preseason. If he has a good camp coming off of his injury, maybe he will start for the Flyers come game 1. That's still open to chance, so that's why I will highlight the preseason just a little bit, not too much after the fact, because the other rookies that should be up should be slam dunks. Samuel Morin, Travis Sanheim, you can throw in Robert Hogg as well. They should be, keyword is should be, starting in game 1 of the regular season.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that you would. One would hope. One would think. But yeah, no. I get your point though, Matty, with that, because if Nolan Patrick is going to be nursed along, and I use nursed because of that sports hernia surgery he had prior to last season, and also nursed, that seems to be Hextall's MO for this team, really bring these young pups gradually. This was your number 2 overall pick overall, so he does have a chance to make it because he has that elite talent, but more than likely seeing him playing with the major roster is going to be more of a camp preseason thing. And who knows, maybe it'll go right into game 1 regular season. That is yet to be determined, but if you want to get a shot to see Nolan Patrick play, preseason is a safe bet.
It is. It absolutely is. And the Flyers, of course, are facing the usual suspects during their preseason, with the exception of one difference, and that's the Boston Bruins. Instead of the New Jersey Devils, they'll be playing the Islanders and the Rangers like they usually do in the preseason, and we'll just be facing Boston instead of New Jersey. Now, moving on. The regular season for the Philadelphia Flyers begins on October 4th, and they decide to take a little trip out to California. Great way to start the season, right? Start a hockey season in the warm weather.
You know, you brought this up in our production meeting. I actually love it more now that I had like 24 hours to process it. They always struggle on that West Coast trip, and that West Coast trip has always been predominantly around Christmas time, around mid-season. Get those effing games out of the way early to where, you know, they can get back to a recipe for success of trying to get a return back to the playoffs, which they missed last year.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Well, their first week is going to be a tough one, as they'll begin on October 4th, play the very next day, and then have to take a day off and then play again. They'll start off against the San Jose Sharks, and then they will go up against the Los Angeles Kings literally the next day. So they have to take a nice long trip down the highway towards Los Angeles, and then they'll have a day off and pretty much just go across the street to face the Anaheim Ducks. So it's weird, though, just traveling.
Brian might have that game circled on his calendar.
I have a couple of those games circled on my calendar.
But this should be an interesting first week for the Philadelphia Flyers, doing a California swing. But their road trip will not end the very following day. The following week, they will then have to face off with the Nashville Predators, the Western Conference champions, in their building, which is going to be a absolute rock house by the beginning of the season, most likely. Nashville has arrived as a franchise, I think it's safe to say, and it's not going to be an easy battle in the first couple of weeks. The Flyers got some tough games coming up. They only have 2 games the following week, but the 2 teams they face make up for it a hell of a lot, because they got to face Nashville, and then their home opener on the 14th against the Washington Capitals.
And like I said in the opening, that's one of the games I automatically have circled on my calendar. It's the home opener, and that's more the reason why. And plus the opponent being, you know, the failed in the playoffs, but yet the President Trophy winning Washington Capitals. It should be a really good test to see where this team has come from the end of last season moving into this season. Real quick, Maddie, we got Janice Beebe Rittenhouse chiming in on our Facebook Live, as you all can. We'll read your comments live on air. She said she's circling the one here in Tampa. So I guess assuming she lives down in Tampa, maybe a Flyers fan transplant. Yeah, when the Flyers nation is throughout the globe. No,
it is.
I'm going a little too.
No, it is.
But I mean, you see Flyers jerseys popping up in various sporting events, maybe even WWE events, but they always get a good road crowd because, you know, the transplant factor. I'll just put it simply like that.
True. I mean, put it into perspective. The Royal Rumble earlier this year, when I was watching it on the network, I saw at least 5 Flyers jerseys. And the Royal Rumble was not in Philly like it's going to be this coming year. No, it was in San Antonio, Texas, in the Alamo Dome. That's just weird. You just see a bunch of Flyers jerseys in San Antonio, Texas.
Well, speaking of that Royal Rumble, that'll be one you'll be in attendance.
Oh, yes, I will be. It'll be an exciting day. I'm going to be in attendance for not just that, but the Raw and the SmackDown following. It's going to be a fun day. I'm going to live at the Wells Fargo Center for 3 days.
A little jealous. Won't lie.
Yeah. You could shop around, find some cheap tickets, I'm sure.
Yeah, not this broke ass. I save my money for major sporting events. Sorry. I like wrestling. You know I do.
Yes, I know. I got it. Right. See, that's the one thing, though, about not having the 4 major sports love. Right. I have the one sport love, and then it just leaves me open for other things.
Right. No, absolutely.
But anyway.
Getting back to that Saturday, October 14th game against the Caps. Good opening night, you know, to have it on a Saturday, which is great. They always put on a great show at the Wells Fargo. And if you look back to this past season, 2 of the 4 meetings went past regulation, including the Flyers' 3-2 shootout win over the Caps December 21st. That saw Wayne Simmons score the winner in the shootout. Basically, these games are always close, always tight. That's why another reason why I have this circled on my calendar. If you go back into history, you might remember the last time the Flyers opened against the Caps was a 6-5 overtime thriller in 2009 when Danny B scored the game winner. So a lot of good things happened there.
I actually think I was at that game.
Were you?
I think I was.
Nice.
I remember going to a home opener against the Capitals.
I remember watching that game. That was a fun game. That was a really fun game. That just made Danny Briere, the love for Danny Briere was just already high, but that just made it even higher after that fact.
Right.
But, yep, the Washington Capitals home opener night, that's going to be a big, big test to see. I got to ask you a question. Who do you think starts that home opener and in goal?
I think it's going to wind up being Anthony. No, I'm sorry, not Anthony Stolarz. It's going to be.
Do not tease me like that, because you know I want that.
It will be. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tease you. It will be Brian Elliott. Brian Elliott will be that guy.
All right, then. So Brian Elliott, whom we have claimed off of the free agency during this past season. Rob, are you thinking Brian Elliott starts the home opener or Michael Neuwirth?
I think it's got to be Brian Elliott. Neuwirth would be a good fan favorite. You know what I mean? Being there, being with the team for a little bit. But I think they want to establish Brian Elliott here in Philly. They brought him in for a reason. Try to give them solid veteran goaltending as the younger Bucks, the Bucks of youth, work their way up the ranks. So, I do think they show their shiny new toy on, to start off the season, sure.
All right, then. So, moving forward, you think the Flyers win?
They were talking the Caps game, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to give Schulte a little love in the shot, and he was there originally to start off the day, so figured put him back on the hockey happy hour, drinking some beers. Do they win or do they lose, man? I mean, it's tough to say for certain because we don't know exactly what the rosters are going to look like at this point. Can they win? Sure. History dictates that is in their favor. Will they win? Probably not, because the Caps didn't have that fire sale. They did keep a lot of their key components, and it's a regular season game, so they should be pretty dominant.
I agree. I think the Flyers honestly, I don't think the Flyers doing it. I think the Capitals are a little too much for them to handle. But I think with this new team and if the rosters are done the right way, they'll give them a run. They'll definitely give them a run.
It'll be a tight game.
But Capitals are too strong.
Now you say too strong. Do you say that it'll give a run, but it won't be a close score? In the end, they take off? Or
I think it'll be a close game for the most part, but then the Capitals will take off.
Gotcha.
All right, then. So, Washington Capitals matchup on the 14th. As obviously that's in the Twitter poll if everybody wants to take a vote on that one, possibly. Moving on. The following week after that, Flyers have a 3-game homestand against the Florida Panthers, the Nashville Predators. Just get the games out of the way at the Western Conference Champions. I'm perfectly fine with that. Get those out of the way and done. And then the Edmonton Oilers come to town. Now, some people have actually would probably have this circled on their calendar because they still have that hatred for Connor McDavid, as some have already been stating still Connor McBroken. They're just like, personally, for me, I still harbor no real hatred of Connor McDavid. I can't hate him. Like, what? It's not even, like, how can you hate a guy who's
a pussy? Oh, sorry.
Well,
I didn't mean
okay,
to speak
that's
over
a
you.
different story. That's Crosby, but we'll get to him later.
Crosby 2.0 right
Yeah.
there.
But Connor McDavid, on the other hand, man, I can't hate him for the fact that he did take a pay cut in order for one of his players to stay on the team. Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. If he was a real prima donna and a scumbag, he would have just like, oh, just give me all my money. No, he took a pay cut, so I'll give him that one. At least he did that, But at the end of the day, though, I still don't really have any hatred for him because we only see him 2 times a year. So I can't really have any hatred for him. And there's no history of me hating the Edmonton Oilers. They were never really that good to hate to begin with.
Not to Shanghai what you're talking about. This is a great question coming in from Adam Curran here on the Facebook Live. Flyers' biggest concern coming into this season, gentlemen?
The biggest concern the Flyers are coming into is if they can get some offense going, because that was their biggest problem last year. Like, if they cannot get consistent, sustained scoring in multiple games and in multiple stretches and cannot get the offense going, the Flyers are doomed right from the get-go. they need to get consistent scoring, and not just from Wayne Simmons. They need to get it from Giroux. They need to get it from Voracek. They need to get it from guys like Konechny, who could step up and really start making more of that potential come out. They need to get it from the more offensive defensemen as well. They need to get goal scoring, period, back into the form of their game, because last year it was not there, and they struggled all year long because of it.
Fair enough.
As much as I agree with you, Maddie, I think defense is going to be their biggest concern because they have the 3 open spots. You have 3 potential rookies taking over those 3 spots. So
that's a concern.
The play,
time, yeah.
right. And then on top of it, the defense has been inconsistent over the last few years too, in front of whoever the goalie has been. More recently, Mason, but it's going to be a mixture of the two.
Sure.
I mean, I can see where the defense could be a concern, but if the youth is brought up, I mean, naturally there's going to be some errors in judgment. Naturally there's going to be some growing pains. I mean, we saw that with Provorov this past season. I don't know. I just see the offense being more of a concern because all the rookie mistakes, Provy was able to cut those away as time went along. I could see the same thing happening with Sanheim, Moran, and the rest of them. That I'm not as concerned about as if the defense is getting better and the offense just disappears, then what was the purpose?
Sure.
The offense is not there. We could play defense all day, but if the offense isn't good, then how are we supposed to win games? We have to be able to score.
One would think.
I get it, but at the same time, you also got to keep the puck out of the net too.
That's true. But
you can win 1-0 games, 2-1 games, and be good, and that's fine.
You can. I'm not saying that. It's just I just think like over time the rookie mistakes will get taken away over time period because they'll get better and they'll adjust, I think. Don't get me wrong though, should defense be a concern? It should be because it is still a big question mark as it has been for the better part of 4 years now.
See, where I see it, and I'm on a defensive standpoint too, but I'm not targeting the position because of the vast talent level that we have there. I think these guys will make that adjustment quicker than most may think. But on a defensive side, I think the Flyers' big concern this season is going to be penalty killing. What has formerly been a strength, that's where you're going to miss Bellemare the most. He was an excellent penalty killer for this team. Can some of these younger guys fill those shoes? You think it's an easy assignment, and it's the toughest in hockey. I'll tell you right now. You get exhausted very quick when it's 5-on-4, 5-on-3 especially. So will their penalty kill be strong like it has been, I want to say in the recent past, but it was pretty good last year. I wouldn't say great. I think that might take a step down.
You could definitely make an argument for every point of this game for the Flyers, especially coming out of last year. Started off pretty well with the power play, and then the power play completely fell off.
Right.
Well, not only that, too, the power play is going to suffer because Braden Shen's not going to be there anymore. Because Braden Shen was a major power play factor, which he's no longer there. You can bring that into play as well. Question, though, is that's just, in my opinion, that's an opportunity for someone to really step up here and say, you know what, Braden Shen's going for a reason because we need somebody else to step up and fill his shoes.
Right.
That could be either a Konechny. That could either be maybe a Goss Despair on the point. It could be somebody who can fill that hole that Braden Shen left on the team when he got traded.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As we were talking about this, a couple more comments came in regard to our question, what game are you circling on your calendar? Both Greg Milakovic and Ronnie Dawson say the game when Mason's returns. Ronnie specifically was so angry when the Flyers let him go, and Greg says no doubt he puts up a shutout. And you know what, Greg, I could agree with you on that because when Mason plays a pissed-off game and has a chip on his shoulder, that's why he plays pretty good. Bad thing is he's hardly ever pissed off, but he'll be looking to prove something, against the Flyers in that game, no doubt about it. Especially, back in Philly, first game back in Philly.
Absolutely. That's going to be a crazy game. That'll be a game against the Winnipeg Jets, which is always a crazy affair between the Flyers and the Jets and a team that I absolutely cannot stand. But still, nonetheless, though, big games coming up. I like that. And I agree, actually, with the fact that Mason getting let go because after everything that's happened and Stoli not being called up, I feel like it was kind of stupid now to just let Mason walk. But, that's just my personal opinion. Did we get a better goalie in Brian Elliott? I don't know. We may have. I mean, you could say that, yeah, Elliott did take a team to the Western Conference Finals, but the same token, just like, yeah, but if he had been on the Flyers, he wouldn't have had to have faced the Capitals, and he would have had to face the Penguins, and he would have had a shitty defense in front of him. So probably would have had the same exact result. So I don't really, quite frankly, it's Mason for Mason here. It's going to be a weird battle,
Agreed.
But anyway, so as we go through, as we tip our hat away from the Oilers game, because again, some people still hate the Oilers because of Connor McDavid. That's the Western Conference problem. We let him go. Let's focus on Crosby. He's our real adversary right now.
And let's look at some of our elder statesmen in our Flyers fan base. They might still be having a chip on their shoulder from the 80s. So, it's always a good game to see, though, when you see, like, elite-level talent, no matter what you think of the man personally, come into your building and get a chance to see it. Big difference watching it on the tube than watching it, in live action.
Yeah, I got the privilege of watching Austin Matthews last year play live, and he's so much better than he looks on TV, and it's ridiculous. His vision... he really is going to be one of the best.
Yeah. And let's not forget last year, the game versus the Oilers. I think that was one of the most exciting games of the year for the Flyers. So, to me, a game's exciting when they match up well. And you know what? Even though the Flyers were a subpar team last year, they did kind of match up well against the mighty Oilers. And I put that in air quotes.
But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see as that moves into that, because it will be a home game. So maybe the Flyers will be able to do better at home than they did last year. It just seemed like home they were doing fine. It was the road that they were struggling on, which is another thing that they need to get back to, being a good road team. They really need to get back to that.
Agreed.
Moving forward then we finish off the series with the Anaheim Ducks right after that one the following week. This started off, so get
early.
The 2 games with Anaheim out of the way early.
Done and out in October? Nothing else to look forward to the rest of the year.
Yeah, so...
I guess there's just the Kings then.
Yeah, there's just the Kings and the Sharks for you. So, oh well. We'll always have Pittsburgh and the Devils.
I'll trade.
Real quick, Matty, before we go on, here's a real interesting question from Val Vasio. I hope I got your name right on Facebook Live. What do you think of Hextall saying we are not in rebuilding mode?
I think that's an interesting thing for him to say. But you know what? In a way, he's kind of right. In rebuild mode, you get rid of everything.
Everything. All
everything.
The pieces, right.
Like, Giroux would be gone. Voracek would be gone. Simmons would be gone. Nobody would be left on this team except the rookies, meaning Konechny, Gostisbehere, and whomever we could call up from the Phantoms. That would be how that rebuild would work. If anything, this is a retooling of the Flyers.
They read my mind. There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, they're just looking for pieces to fill in, and they have the core group of guys on who they want on this team for a long time, which is Drew, Voracek, and Simmons. He's just kind of picking the pieces of the defense, see who works, who doesn't work. Obviously, Shane Gostisbehere is going to be your future leader of the defensive core. You're just kind of feeling the waters for goaltending, I guess, because obviously you're waiting for hopefully waiting for Stolars while waiting for Carter Hart at the same time, who is going to be your future goaltender.
Right. And I mean, when you talk about what the pieces that the Flyers did shed, yeah, there was a couple major players. I mean, you let the aforementioned Steve Mason walk. I brought up Bellemare being picked in the expansion draft. The only major player you traded was Braden Shen to the St. Louis Blues. So I think this screams retooling because, were they god-awful last year? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Is it a season they want to put back in their rearview mirror? Well, hell yes. So retool is the way to go.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why you trade those players away, or those players go. I mean, Bellemare we kind of lost, and that sucks. But, we felt like we needed to change that, and we changed Braden Shen out and decided, okay, Braden Shen's gone. We got a different plan set in. We'll probably bring in somebody younger to take that spot because that's who we want. We want to get younger. And no offense to Braden Shen, but his 5-on-5 play never really added up. His special teams play was great. his 5-on-5 play could have been better, and that was his biggest problem. That was his biggest detriment to the Flyers. His 5-on-5 play never got to where we needed it to be. You need that. You need to be able to play good on even strength. If you could play good on special teams, you should be able to play good on even strength. I don't understand why you can't transition your game. But that's that. Moving on, though. With the
Thank you, Val.
Yeah, with the retooled.
She said
yes.
very well put. I agree.
Thank you.
Also, she agrees with Ronnie and Greg. Mason return is the game that she's most looking forward to.
It will. And you know what? I have no hate for Steve Mason. And I will have a special place for Steve Mason because without him, we don't make the playoffs for those 2 years. We absolutely don't. And then everybody could be sucking Michael Neuvirth's dick about how he was able to do whatever he did last year. It's like, yeah, and he got hurt again like he always does. So you know what? I don't care. At the end of the day, Steve Mason still made this team a viable team to make the playoffs. Without him, we don't face the Capitals, and we don't face the Rangers. And hell, in that Rangers series, it went to Game 7. No small part because of Steve Mason.
Val comes in and says he. Hey, Val Venus, I should have put that connection together. Sorry. Not Valerie. Val, thanks for chiming in, buddy, though. We appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. But anyway, we move on from the Anaheim series, as that will be over and done.
Over!
And we go on to a road trip up to Ontario. We face off with Ottawa, and then we face off with Austin Matthews' Toronto Maple Leafs. That is not going to be a fun trip because you got one good team in Ottawa and a soon-to-be even better team in Toronto. Oh, God. That's not going to be a fun trip.
Nope.
And then we come home to face the Arizona Coyotes. Which, by the way, still, thank you for taking that Chris Pronger contract off our hands. Thank you so much. And enjoy Nick Cousins, who will be returning to Philadelphia on that day. And then after that, we start the month of November. Oh, Christ. Whew. That's not going to be fun. Chicago, and then St. Louis. And then after that, we go home. This should be a win. Keyword is this should be a win. But that's always a misnomer with the Flyers. We face the Colorado Avalanche for the first time on the 4th of November on a Saturday in Philadelphia. That should be a win. That should be a clear-as-day win. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still got talent, but that team is just still falling apart.
Yeah, but they're also retooling, too. I want to see what changes they've made coming into that game, to really fully be as I love your confidence, Manny, and God knows I hope you're right. You know what I mean? We need a few easy games, so to speak, because it seems like it's always just a barn burner. We got to throw out 60 minutes of energy just to come close. So it'd be great. But
I wanted to say Arizona, but that'd be false because Arizona actually has a team that might give people headaches this year.
Got some young good players, yeah.
So that's the problem. But
Max Domi, to speak of many.
Yeah, true. But I do like how this schedule is clearing out our Western Conference matchups early because the following week we go home and we face Chicago, and then we face Minnesota for the first time, and then the following week after that we go to Minnesota. So we do a home and home with them, which
always fun.
But it's 2 days in between, so actually it's not as bad as other home and home series could be. So I could live with that actually.
Right.
And then we face Steve Mason for the first time in Winnipeg. And then to close that out, we go back home to greet Johnny Hockey and his Calgary Flames. Brian Elliott will face his old team for the first time. So,
well, that's not fair. Half the teams we play would be him facing an old. No, he hasn't been passed around that much. He's not the Village Bicycle,
Wow.
Not yet. I mean,
go there.
His career ain't over yet. After his Flyers career is done, which will be done in 2 seasons, we'll see.
Right.
But anyway, so that's a little quick roundup of the first month and into November. When we come back, we're going through mid-November. We'll get into the 21st on and see if there's any highlighted games coming up there. That's on the other side. But first, we'll talk to you all about Liberty Event Rentals. They're located at 2154 East Cambria Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You can give them a call at 267-314-7368. And they've got tables, chairs, tents, linens, anything for your party or event needs. If you wanted a Labor Day party and you missed them, well, that's on you. But But Thanksgiving is coming up in November, and Halloween is coming up in October. And if you want to have a party, why not call Liberty Event Rentals? And if you want to find them on the web, they have a website at www.libertyeventRentals.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com, and we will be right back with more hockey action right after this. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
This is the Hockey Happy Hour on HUDRadio.com. And no, we are not like the WWE. We don't bury talented people.
We are talented people.
Yes, we are. And we are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And speaking of which, have you ever wanted the ultimate driving experience? Well, then you got to go to BMW of Atlantic City. They're easy to get to, minutes off at exit 37 of the Parkway, located 6037 Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. Give them a call at 609-568-9200, and they are online at www.bmwatlanticcity.com.
The only problem is we just don't know what we're talented in yet.
Well, bullshitting?
We're definitely good at that.
Okay, well, at least we're talented at something.
Right.
That's the important thing. And speaking of bullshit, let's get into the Flyer season, shall we? Moving forward, as we were going through the month of November, we were finished off with the Calgary Flames, who would come to town. It would be Brian Elliott's old team taking a visit to Philadelphia. And then after that, we would face the Vancouver Canucks. Now, that should also be a win, too, by the way, folks. If the Flyers don't beat Vancouver, we are in serious shit because that team is in terrible shape.
I don't know, man. They kind of made some moves that I've liked over the last couple of years. Bring in Louis Eriksson. They bring in Thomas Vanek, Sam Gagner. They bring in Michael Del Zotto. They're not going to be an easy team to beat, and they still have the Sedin twins. Keep that in mind. They're still prominent duo in the NHL.
True, but really, though, Vancouver being a competitive team is not really going to happen.
You don't think so?
Not really. I don't see them being competitive.
I could definitely see them being competitive. They're nowhere near a playoff team yet, but they'll be competitive.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, maybe an agree-disagree on the opinions there.
Me and you agree to disagree. What else is new?
Yeah,
I know Del Zotto would be competitive in the pornography world.
that's true. Just
Yeah.
talked to his former girlfriend. Moving on.
Talk about beating a dead horse. Ah,
Yeah.
see what I did there? Yay.
Moving on. The New York Islanders are the next team on the list. And yes, they are still in Barclays Center, but their time is ticking away slowly. As they will pay a visit to Brooklyn, the Flyers will face off with them there, and then the Islanders will join us on a road trip back down south as they will face off with the Flyers in Philadelphia in a nice little home and home with a day off in between. These are much, much more favorable home and homes than they were last year. Half the home and homes were with Western Conference teams and literally were happening the very next day after. So it seems a little bit more favorable this year.
Absolutely. And you know what? One thing I forgot to mention on the other side, Maddie, about that Coyotes game, I forgot that that's where Nick Cousins went, too. So there might be some intrigue there. And, I mean, you know, the Coyotes did have a pretty active offseason signing Derek Stepan and Nicholas Harmelson. So
Yeah, that's why I couldn't pick them as an easy
Right.
opponent.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that, too, to support your point. But, yeah, that's where Cousins is playing his playing time. So, you know, that's always exciting, intrigue story. I
True.
mean, there's obviously more main stage stories with Mason and Shen, but you get my drift.
Yeah, I got you. Moving on, we now face off, oh boy, after the home and home with the Islanders, we take a trip out west to Western Pennsylvania, and we face off with the defending Stanley Cup champions for the second straight year in a row. It almost makes me gag to say it. Sidney Crosby and his Schittsburg Penguins for the very first time will face the Flyers this season in the no longer Consol Energy Center. It is now the whatever the fuck Paints Arena. But after that,
Insert corporate sponsor here.
Yes.
Stadium. Yeah, arena. Yeah.
I'm not even touching that.
yeah, no one is free of the corporate sponsors. Actually, the Red Wings aren't anymore either because now they're at the Caesars Pizza Palace, I believe it's called. Or no, it's the Caesars Pizza Arena.
Little Caesars Arena or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Either way, even they are now no longer.
Can we go back to stadium names being like awesome and not being corporate names?
Yeah, too late now. Moving on, though. After that, the Flyers go back home to face the San Jose Sharks. Now, definitely, I have the highlighted game for me is against Pittsburgh, obviously, because that'll actually, strangely enough, I believe, because I don't know, depends on if you consider the Capitals a rival or not, which I guess you could. That's the first rivalry game besides the Capitals that we'll be facing. I guess you could say the Islanders, but really I don't consider the Islanders a rival. So But that would be a huge rivalry matchup. A lot of distance between the rivalry games. I like that. Not bunching them up like they always do half the time. After that, they face San Jose at home, and then they end November there. And then we face another rival at home for the first time, and it is the Boston Bruins at a 1 o'clock start, which unfortunately, unlike Edmonton and Calgary, would provide us an advantage because they are on Western time, so they would probably be just getting up. Boston's on Eastern time. We do not have that advantage in this game. However, though, this should be a winnable game for Philadelphia. I mean, Boston is still, they're not going to be a bad team, but they're going in the other direction, whereas the Flyers are going up, the Bruins are going down currently. So that should be a winnable game for Philadelphia against the Boston Bruins. I can't imagine it not being. If they do, it's because for whatever reason they can't play Boston, for whatever stupid reason.
Balls.
Moving on. Out west we go. And remember those two teams I mentioned before, Calgary and Edmonton? That's who we get to face in their buildings this time. Oh, that's not going to be fun. Brian Elliott gets to visit his former home in Calgary. And then we get to face Connor McBroken in his home building in Edmonton. Oh, Christ.
What's the date of that?
That is the 4th of December and the 6th of December. And then our Western Canada trip ends with us facing the Vancouver Canucks on their ice.
So that's what they did. So they took away the southern West Coast trip, but now it's just more of a northern West Coast trip come December. They always like fucking us, the schedule makers. God damn it.
Right in December, too, like they usually do it, right?
Right, we will triumph and overcome.
Yeah, with 2 tough games and a winnable game on Thursday. That'll be interesting. Moving on. The following week, guess who we get to face at home? Toronto.
Nice.
We get to face Austin Matthews as he pays a visit to Philadelphia on his goodwill tour.
Again, not a bad game if you want to go out to the well, though, because, I mean, just to see in person Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and, you know, just the overall great young Mike Babcock roster there up in Toronto. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, take it from me. I've gotten a chance to see him live. If you can go to that game, get there.
To be honest with you, though, is it really, like, maybe it's just me. And in this, feel free to comment in on this on the YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook. Is it really worth going and seeing a really great player knowing your team's going to get shit on? Or is it better to see your team actually compete with that really good player?
Oh,
because your team is...
Give me option 2, 8 days a week.
Yeah, but would you do that? Even though you know that the team isn't going to be competitive with this other team.
Oh, I'd still go regardless because I can't control how good or bad my team is. But I can go out and see, like, you know, monumental talent around the league and still appreciate that. Obviously, I would love it to be a competitive game.
I just feel like I would like to see the Flyers win if I'm going to go. If I'm going to make the effort to go out, I'd like to see a game that they could win, you know? Not a game where you know there's probably a 1 in 10 chance that they win.
Are you describing that as this Toronto game? Because I give them more of a chance than that. I mean, especially with their retooling. I mean, we'll have some firepower to actually match them a little bit this year, I would say.
I hope. It's just, I don't know. I mean, with the lack of offense we had this year, it doesn't give me much hope.
Yeah, with things changing around a little bit with Konechny, you know, now, you know, gaining his experience from this year, going to have a full season up with the big boys and, you know, then talk about other guys that, you know, Jordan Wheel coming into his own, I think is going to be an exciting player for this team. You know, and lo and behold, whether it be right out of the gate or later on in the season, by this point, Nolan Patrick. Maybe we go out to this Toronto game seeing both Austin Matthews and Nolan Patrick. That's what I want.
Yeah, possibly. Well, that'll be the Toronto game to continue our stretch with them at home this time around. Then, one of my favorite teams in the whole freaking world, the Buffalo Sabres, come to town. And a team that I hope the Flyers absolutely just, you know, empty their ass all over because I hate that team. I hate that organization. I hate their stupid-looking logo. I hate everything about their organization. I hated Dan Bylsma, so he's not there no more. I can't say that anymore. I think Jack Eichel's talented, but I think the organization he's with is a piece of shit. Basically, all form and simple. The Sabres can suck a you-know-what.
You know, I'm going to bring up Sarah Silverman again on this show. I brought her up earlier on FDN. She has this one funny joke from this stand-up I saw on Netflix, right, where she's describing a friend of hers puking in a co-ed dorm bathroom and feeling her underpants being lowered behind her, and you're like, what the hell? Like what kind of rape scenario is this? No. She was just shitting her pants, and it was slowly pulling the underwear down. It got a huge laugh, though. And she goes, that was what I like to call a relief laugh. That you were so relieved that she wasn't getting ass raped. That's the only time where you could look down and be like, oh, I just shit my pants. Thank God.
I think that's the only time you can say that.
Yeah. Anyway.
But moving on, after that team, then the Flyers face off with Dallas for the first time. Now, Dallas should be a winnable game as well because, again, they're a team that had to basically rebuild. They were kind of like a Cub Scout at the Neverland Ranch. They don't know what they're doing right now, basically.
Hey now. Most powerful metaphor of the year.
Moving on, though, the Los Angeles Kings will be coming to town, finishing off our series with L.A., and then the Detroit Red Wings for the first time this year make an appearance in Philadelphia. That I'm actually very interested in seeing because us and Detroit has some very interesting games this past season.
Oh, for certain. And talk about two clubs that are sort of at the same standpoint, retooling, trying to build their way back up the ranks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I'm actually really looking forward to us facing Detroit.
I'd love to see Dylan Larkin.
That would be interesting. Dylan Larkin.
I'm not going out to Detroit to go see him, but I mean,
Well, this is in Philly, so I think,
it was in Philly.
So,
I thought you just said in Detroit. Oh, okay, yeah. I'd go out to the Well and go see Dylan Larkin play. Even though he had a very subpar year last year, I'm not buying into that in terms of what type of player Dylan Larkin is.
Oh, we know what kind of player that Dylan Larkin is. He's already shown it. He just needs some guys around him.
Yeah.
True.
Right.
True. Well, I mean, that's going to be an interesting matchup, though, because Detroit was trying to make some off-season moves, try and get something going here, trying to retool their team, like you were saying, get them back to winning form. But yeah, that's always an interesting series when the Flyers and the Red Wings meet. I think slowly but surely, the Red Wings moving to the East might actually wind up being a Red Wings-Flyers rivalry that is not just because of the 97 Cup Finals. No, I think it might stem from the fact that these two teams are pretty much in the same boat and having to compete for the wild card spot. It happened 2 years ago. We were competing with them tooth and nail to try and kick them out. They managed to sneak in, though, still, because Boston wound up taking a mighty shit right out of the playoffs there. You were trying to censor me there. It didn't work.
I tried.
Moving on.
Damn it.
You had one job, Brian. One job.
Always fail that one job.
Censor Maddie.
All right. Moving on. Then we go to Buffalo. Ugh. God. Sorry. Another team. I just can't stand them.
No, you can't.
I hate the air they breathe. Anyway, moving on. Then we face Columbus for the first time, and that is going to be a game that we should be able to win. I know we don't play well in Nationwide Arena, but if there's a year where we can actually start getting something going against Columbus, it's this year. Just because of the fact that they lost so much during this offseason. That should be able to be a winnable game. There should be no excuse. Yes, Bobrovsky's in net. Still, no excuse. You should be able to get a win finally against these damn Blue Jackets.
Sure. I mean, well, don't underestimate the acquisition of Artem Panarin either, But we talked about that on a former show. How good will he be out on his own, not with the surrounding cast he had in Chicago?
Yeah, and keep in mind, they re-signed Wenberg to, a 6-year deal?
I believe so. Yeah, he's a stud defenseman. I tuned people into him on a fantasy perspective last year, and Jesus, he made me look good. Mm-hmm. And that's very hard to do, people.
And it's a Tortorella-based team, so it's obviously their defense first. So, I mean, that's something you got to worry about whenever you play Columbus.
That is true. That is very, very true. That may benefit us, though, if our offense gets going. That might benefit us. If we can get a good offense going, we might be able to pierce through their defense, possibly. We'll see. Now, moving on, the Florida Panthers, again, this time in their arena. And then the Tampa Bay Lightnings. Remember that game we were getting circled on the calendar earlier? That's the one in Tampa. It'll be on the 29th of December.
Good thing to do around the holidays. Beautiful, beautiful.
Great thing to do around the holidays after the Christmas break. The NHL gives us a gift. You get to face the Florida Panthers, and you get to face the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Assuming Florida stays on the map after Hurricane Irene.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is
Please
very,
stay out,
very
it's
true.
This country doesn't need that right now, but
Beat up the Caribbean. No one cares about them.
Yes.
But anyway.
that's what you need to censor.
He always waits till I lean back in the chair to say something like that.
We don't censor anything here at atdradio.com. Believe that, real talk.
Yeah. I mean, besides what has the Caribbean contributed besides, drugs? Not much else.
Coffee.
Well, coffee, yeah. But, I mean, you can get coffee from Brazil. So
Beautiful vacation destinations for a lot of people.
you could go to California and get the same effect. Go to Hawaii, get the same effect. And you stay in the States.
Me personally, I'm not sure because I've never been to any of those places.
They're fantastic.
They're still
I
tropical.
wouldn't know.
I mean, still.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's, Hawaii's its own thing, California's its own thing, and then the Caribbean, that's a thing in of itself. So I'm not sure. I haven't been there.
But you don't have to worry about hurricanes over there. So,
Well, you get the right time of the year. You don't have to worry about it either.
well, true.
It's
but
only
it's the right time of the
that
year.
late August to October window.
All right. Speaking of hurricanes, January kicks off with a big bang. The Pittsburgh Penguins come to town, and that will be the first time Crosby visits Philly this year. I wonder, will he survive his trip to Philly this year like he does shockingly every season? He manages to get through Philly and get through our hitmen. Sorry. Nope. We don't hire hitmen to kill Crosby. Strike that. Why didn't you censor that, damn it? Damn.
Well, I
Why
don't
would
know.
I censor that?
I think he'll be safe. I mean, that has kind of been squashed, that rivalry. I think that it's not really too burning right now. I mean, I'm not saying the rivalry between the Flyers and Penguins, that'll always exist, but that, will Flyers fans always hate on Crosby like most of the nation? Sure, but in terms of it being heated, like safe, like feeling safe playing there or whatever, that element, the heatedness, the anger has kind of died down a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I hope not, because
A little bit.
Philly, Pittsburgh is a two-time Stanley Cup champion in the last 2 years. 2 straight years. What is not to hate about them? They are an annoying, piss yellow wearing team that has 2 more cups than we do. Fuck them. That's how I feel. Anyway, moving on. Then the New York Islanders come to town. Breeze right by that one. And then to the St. Louis Blues once again. Hello, Braden Shen, returning to Philadelphia. That's the other day that could possibly be circled on people's calendars, the 6th of January. You think Braden Shen plays with a little bit of punch? Because I know Shen does throw the body around. He ain't afraid to.
Oh, no, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. I mean, it's
Him and
fired.
Simmons.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great if those two fought. That would be the greatest comeback ever in Philadelphia. Braden Shen and Simmons, former best friends, now bitter enemies, and they just throw the gloves down and beat the hell out of each other.
Now, you would think you'd automatically give the edge to the Wayne train there because he brings a nice punch.
Braden can hold his own.
He could certainly hold his own, and let us not forget this is the same dude that got lacerated in the abdomen with a skate and came back and played in that same game. He's a tough SOB.
Yeah, that's gonna be that'd be a fun game if that actually does happen. That has to happen. That has to happen.
And again, this will be Brian Elliott playing against a former team as well in the St. Louis Blues, so that should have some intrigue there on our side.
And also Yuri Laterra, who we got off of that trade, but who cares? He's a 4th liner.
Ooh, look at this random factoid here. The Flyers haven't lost 3 straight games to St. Louis in nearly 30 years since 1988-89 season.
Wow, that's nice.
Well, the reason why I bring this up is that the Flyers dropped both contests in the season series last year, so if they lose their first matchup this year, that would be 3 in a row.
I remember it, actually, because that game in St. Louis, they had it won, and in that third period, they let it all fall apart right after that. God,
Truth.
That was bad. That was a bad trip, just in general. Moving on. Then the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah, fuck you. Move on. And then a break. A long break, actually. Holy cow. A 5-day break in between them, and oh, God, then we got to face them. We got to go up to Newark, and we got to face those damn New Jersey Devils.
Those damn Devils.
Ugh. Not looking forward to that game. I hate the Devils.
Now, that game could have some intrigue, too, much like when they visit us at the Well. If Nolan Patrick's up by then, you'll have, number 1 versus number 2. Hershier versus Patrick. And they'll be out to prove who was the smarter. Were the Devils smart and going with Nico there over Patrick? It's an unfair thing to judge by one contest, but people will.
Of course.
They did. They did when Lane met up with Austin Matthews for the first time, and they're going to do the same thing with Nico and Nolan. And I'm not necessarily sure that Nico's even in position to take a roster spot on the big club. So, who knows? He might not even make the big club. He might go right up to Albany.
Yeah.
Man, possibly. Who knows? Now, moving on. After the New Jersey Devils in that Newark place, we then go right across the bridge, and we go to Manhattan, New York, go to Madison Square Garden to face the New York Rangers. Oh, that's not going to be a fun game. That is not going to be a fun game at all. I hate facing the Rangers nowadays. I really hate facing them.
I'm not going to lie, though. I would love to get up to Madison Square Garden and see a game.
Well, it's one of the last remaining classic arenas of hockey. There's nothing else left. The Joe Lou's gone. The Maple Leaf Gardens have been gone. The Montreal Forum's been gone. It's the only one that's left. And the Boston Gardens have been gone.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. I want to get up there. I would love to see a game at Madison Square Garden. I don't care who they're playing.
Yeah. No, I've been a couple times, both there, Boston Garden as well. Was that that might have been basketball, but it's still around the arena or whatnot.
It would be, actually. It'd be interesting to take a hockey happy hour road trip. Follow the Flyers as they face off with the New York Rangers in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Wearing Flyers jerseys proudly. And Brian wearing his Anaheim Ducks gear, even though it has nothing to do with this game.
I would not wear my Anaheim Ducks gear if they're not playing. Come on now. I'm not that type of fan.
Don't you rip on my boy like that.
All right. And then
only I'm allowed to rip on my boy like that. No.
No, this is true. This is true.
Do I? I'm sorry.
No.
I do not accept your apology.
No,
you get no points.
No, that's not what I meant. No, you don't rip on me like that. Stop it.
I got it.
And then after that, Toronto. Oh, God, we got to face Toronto again. Jesus. And then after we face Toronto at home, then the Devils come and visit us in Philly for the first time. Oh, yay. Goody.
Goody gumdrops.
Yep. And then after that, we face Washington in Washington. That's nice. That's very nice.
Oh. You're so optimistic, Matthew.
Well, okay. How can I be optimistic after we face the New Jersey Devils, a team that we struggle against for no reason whatsoever, and then we got to face the Washington Capitals, who are good during the regular season and shit during the playoffs?
Truth.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Of course. Easy for you to say. You're a Ducks fan. They crap on half the teams they play in the Western Conference.
That's not 100% true. They don't play San Jose well in the playoffs. They haven't been playing LA well as of late. They're two big rivals.
They're two big rivals, but other teams they crap on, so it makes up for it at the end of the day.
Big old shitburger. Seems to be the theme of the show today.
It is. It is. It is.
The Fire season will not be shit, though.
Hopefully.
See better things ahead. Better days ahead.
Moving on.
Much better days ahead.
Moving on, then they go to the Caesars Pizza Arena to face the Detroit Red Wings in the new building for the first time. Then Tampa Bay comes and visits Philadelphia on the 25th, and then they close out the month once again facing Washington in the Verizon Center. And that's how January comes to a close. All right, and now we will head to break, and we will finish off our Flyers season preview here as we go through the schedule. We finish off with the final 3 months, February, March, and April. Or, well, really, April's not really a month, but okay. We'll go through it. Couple games there. But that will be on the other side to close it all out. But first, let's talk to you about the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on a2dradio.com. We'll be right back right after this. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. We have the best sweeper music in the business today. And we are brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants. They are located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You give them a call, 215-369-3300. Tax season was here, but some guarantees are in life, and taxes are one of them. So we'll be back eventually. So be ready, be prepared, get Gibson Mayer.
Our friend showed up.
Oh, David Roska.
David Roska's here.
What's
He's
up,
listening.
buddy?
Leaving a couple comments. Let's go Ducks. Hashtag Let's go Ducks. Hashtag Let's go Ducks. And I couldn't agree more. Let's go Ducks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on. We now have the fun task of still going through the Flyer schedule right now. As we started going through it, we finished off January. And now we go into February. February, we start off against New Jersey in the Rock, and then after that, we come back down to face Ottawa and Philadelphia, and this is where the schedule gets weird because now we're going in patterns. Then we go back on the road, and we face Carolina for the first time. Now, that's going to be an interesting game because Carolina was rebuilding their team. So let's see if that team did it properly or not. We'll find out eventually. And then we go back home to face the Montreal Canadiens for the first time. And then we go back on the road out west to face the Arizona Coyotes. And the very next day, we go back to another desert for the very first time in history. The Philadelphia Flyers face off with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And our first matchup against Belmar.
And that's out in their building, correct?
That is out in their building. Yep.
Yeah. And that'll be good for novelty. And that's definitely great for a road trip for the Hockey Happy Hour. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Play some bets down on that game, too. Throw a few around. What would you bet?
What would I bet?
Yeah.
Bet on black, man. Always bet on black. No. I mean, you'd have to bet on the Flyers in that game or whatnot against an expansion team that did a great job formulating a team and then, in my opinion, kind of screwed the pooch with some moves after the expansion draft. But, they're putting together a competitive team, but I don't think it's anything that could thwart, the Flyers or most teams. We'll have to wait and see how they play, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's going to be an interesting battle out in Las Vegas. And then after we're done hitting the tables at Vegas, we come back to Philadelphia to be greeted by those shit-sucking New Jersey Devils. And then we come back to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We go back to Nationwide Arena. Again, a building that we do not play well in, but if there is any year to get better in that building, it is this year. Please do so. After that, we go up to Madison Square Garden again to face the New York Rangers for a very early start time of 1 o'clock. And then we go back home to face Montreal again, and Columbus decides to pay us a visit in our building for the first time. So that should be interesting. And then we go back up to Ottawa, and then we go to Montreal in their building. Lots of matches against the Canadiens in February, about 3. That's interesting. How does the schedule wind up making where you have 3 matches against the same team in 1 month? I mean, and they're not a rival or divisional team.
I've already stated my opinion about the schedule makers. And that 1 o'clock game that you mentioned, you can just automatically put an L there. Flyers terrible in day games.
Oh, yeah, well, against the New York Rangers in Madison Square Garden. Who knows? Maybe hope on the horizon. We'll see.
Yeah.
In March, we now go through the long march as Carolina will come to town for the first time. And then we go back down to Tampa. Oh, that's great. And pay our last visit to Florida because then we face off with the Florida Panthers right after that. And then finish with the Florida teams. We don't have to worry about them anymore. And then we go back home to face Sidney Crosby and the Schittsburg Penguins in another Philly home game against Pittsburgh. Hopefully a win. I would like to see that against the piece of shit Pittsburgh Penguins. And then the Boston Bruins in Boston. That game I'm not so sure about because we do not play well in Boston. Yep. We really don't. We haven't played well in Boston since 2010. Hey-oh. Anyway, moving on. Then the 10th. This is the game everybody's been talking about. March 10th. At 1 o'clock, which actually favors us, the Winnipeg Jets with their shit-sucking Dustin Byfuglien and their beloved goalie, Steve Mason, comes to town to return to Philadelphia for the first time since being let go.
Well, first of all, 1 o'clock does not favor us. I disagree with you there, but
it might because it's a Western Conference team.
Oh, coming across. Yes, good point. I take that back. Sorry about the criticism there. But what I will say, though, is that I'm going to criticize PhiladelphiaFlyers.com here a little bit. Well, actually, no, this stems from an NHL.com article. That makes a lot more sense. So they list like a lot of like games that they're according for their write up that the games they're interested in, and this game was only a game that was worth mentioning.
Why?
Yeah, like this is. I mean, look at the outpouring that we got on Facebook in regard to being geeked up for this game. Looking quickly at the Twitter poll, not as much, believe it or not, is favoring that game. They're actually looking forward to the Shen returning game. That's leading right now at 40%. But a lot of the other votes going for Mason returns as well as the home opener. So, this is not a game that's just worth mentioning. Is it a marquee game? No, but it's a game that against your former mates and the way he exited the city, I don't know.
Is it just what is it with the hatred of Steve Mason? Is it just like the fact that Mason got us to 2 playoff runs, or maybe it's the fact that he made us an actual viable competitive team the 2 seasons we didn't make the playoffs?
Right.
Or maybe it's the fact that, you know what, maybe it's because he couldn't get us out of the first round. Well, it ain't his fault that our defense sucked terribly in both of those series. And we were overmatched against Washington anyway.
Right.
What is with the Steve Mason hate, NHL? Are you guys just full? You know what? Never mind. It's the NHL. You can't talk to these people. These people are morons. It's just as simple as that. They put a team in Vegas, for Christ's sake. But anyway, moving on. Speaking of that team, they come to the Wells Fargo Center after this game for their first ever visit to Philadelphia. And I'm hoping that's a win, because we kind of want to set the tone early to this new franchise. Yeah, you're only going to face us twice a year, but when you come to our building, we're going to beat the fuck out of you.
That's right.
I kind of hope that we
That's
set
right.
that tone early.
I'm kind of looking forward to this game, too, because assuming I don't go out to Vegas and see the Flyers face them out there, this will be the first time that I'll get to see the Vegas Golden Knights, so I have a little bit of notoriety there.
But it's a Monday game, so you know what you could do? You could go down to Atlantic City, hit the slots, and then come back and then watch the Flyers play Vegas. There you go. Same effect.
Love it.
So there you go. All planned out. That trip is now officially happening.
Yes.
Mark it down on March 10th through the 11th. Rob will be down in Atlantic City. Feel free to say hi to him. And then we go from
away from home.
Yeah. And then we go from the Vegas Golden Knights paying their first ever visit to Philadelphia. The Columbus Blue Jackets come back for their last matchup with the Flyers of the season. And then Carolina is paid a visit by Philadelphia the following Saturday. And then we start the next week off against Washington in our own building. And then Detroit, we go back up there to face them in another matchup. And then the Rangers visit Philadelphia for the first time in a little while. It should be an interesting series of games that week. Those are going to be games that are going to come down to the wire. And the sad part is it's going to be when the wild card race is at its fullest. It's like, oh, of course. The schedule maker's fucked us again, of course. We have to face the tough teams during this time period. We got to face Washington. We got to face, Detroit. It's on even playing field. And then we got to face the New York Rangers. God, why can't we not face easy teams? Can we not face easy teams when it really matters? It just sucks. It really does.
Oh, adversity builds character.
I guess.
So they say.
I guess. It's just, I would love to see, because it happens for other teams, and it sucks. And it's usually the other teams we're competing against. If easy teams they got to face, and we got to face the hard teams, that is not fair whatsoever.
Wah.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway.
Life's not fair.
Yeah, true. All right. Moving on. The following Sunday, the Flyers go back out to Pittsburgh to face the Penguins for their last meeting of the season. And then they head out to Dallas to face the Stars for their last meeting. And then they head to Colorado for their final meeting. So a little West Coast trip out there, or West Swing out west. And then the Flyers come back home to be greeted at 12:30 start time by the Boston Bruins in Philadelphia. And then we are ending the season at home, actually, not on the road this time. Our last road game of the year against the New York Islanders in Barclays Center, and then we come back down to Philadelphia for our final 2 games. The first one against the Carolina Hurricanes, and then the final one against the New York Rangers.
Nice.
Is it just me, or do we always end the season facing the same teams? It's either Carolina or it's New York. It's one of the two. It's so weird that it always happens that way.
Yeah, very much so.
But that is the final game of the regular season for the Flyers against the New York Rangers. That will be at 3 o'clock. It'll be in Philadelphia. It is Saturday, April 7th. And that is the full 82 stretch for the Philadelphia Flyers. Overall, there are some brief periods of easy, and then there are a lot of stretches of difficult. when you look at this schedule here, because the Eastern Conference, unfortunately, is extremely difficult to compete in right now.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, first of all, kudos to you for getting through the schedule in little over an hour of the show. You did far better than I did with reviewing Week 1 in the NFL for FDN because, it took us 3 segments to get through a week's worth of schedule. We were talking about all the games. But anyway, that's that show. This is this show. Going through the schedule game by game, yes, I do see a lot of roadblocks schedule-wise. I see a lot of obstacles that the Flyers team will be up against. But overall, I think it's setting up them for success. I do feel that they'll be able to put last year's season clearly in the rearview mirror if one thing happens, and that's Claude Giroux playing like Claude Giroux can, getting some new pieces around him, hopefully not being the absolute center of attention for the other team to tee off on him and really factor him out of the game. With like any team, the team goes where the captain goes and how well he plays and his level of play.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. The captain does need to lead by example. Giroux has done it in the past, and our team has played very well when he has played well.
Right.
So,
and if they do have another season that's equatable, if not worse than last season, this will be the last season that you see a C on his sweater, maybe even him in orange and black, because then it might go from a retool to a rebuild.
yeah.
I don't know if it'd go that far. I mean,
I'm
trade
being
Giroux,
melodramatic.
you will. You trade Giroux, you're going to get a couple good pieces back. So, I mean, it would still be. I would still consider it a retool.
Right. But they have that affordability now by drafting Nolan Patrick. Nolan Patrick will be this team's first-line center. I'm not saying this year, but that's where he will be. And Giroux could still coexist as the captain with that, being your second-line center. I mean, a great example is Jonathan Toews in Chicago. You don't have to be the guy. You don't have to be Roman Reigns. In order to be the captain and a good leader of your team, you could always be John Cena.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a part of what makes you a good captain is, willing to do what you need to do for the team to make the team better.
Sure.
So
That's going to be an interesting battle, though, as the season goes on, as they trek through with a lot of new young talent that'll be put up to the test, and it'll be put up or shut up time for them. They wanted to be on this team. They've been trying to get on this team. Here's your shot.
Right.
Make it happen.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a real fun year. I'm expecting a lot of craziness, as always, but I'm expecting a good amount of upsets from the Flyers. I'm expecting the Flyers to go into some buildings and get some upsets.
Against who?
I actually see them beating Washington. I think they can do it. I can see them beating Boston, obviously, and we won't struggle as much in Boston as we have in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them beating Jersey in Jersey. That would be the first time in a while, actually, that we've done it. Well, not too much. A couple years ago, we were able to beat them in their own building. But I could see them doing that because it's a much better team now than that team.
I mean, not really an upside. I mean, Devils are sort of right on par with it, but I get your point in their building. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's always been that weird. For whatever reason, we haven't played well against them in the Rock. I could see them actually beating Ottawa. I think they can do that. I think they can upset Ottawa.
Yeah.
They can upset St. Louis. I think they can upset St. Louis, especially. And call me crazy, I think they can upset Calgary. Edmonton, I don't know, but Calgary, possibly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's funny, though, because when you said it, a team immediately popped in my head. And I wanted to see if we were on the same page. And unlike most times where we are, we're not.
Well, what team?
I think they have a good shot at upsetting, if not once, maybe more than once, New York Rangers. And I'll say this for a couple reasons. One, they lost some pieces in Derek Stepan, right? Among others, yes, you do gain Kevin Shattenkirk, and they've gotten younger on that blue line. But at the cost of kind of sacrificing some offensive weapons, Lundqvist another year longer in the tooth or whatnot. Am I sitting here saying that the Flyers are a better team than the Rangers? No, I'm not saying that, Rangers fans, not yet. But I kind of see the Rangers as a team on the way down. And, I mean, is that this given year? Maybe. But I think this is the beginning. And this might be sort of, what do you call it, change in the ranks, that expression?
Changing of the guard?
Changing of the guard. Thank you, sir. Now we're back on the same page.
Well, speaking of being on the same page, what about our rivals? I was talking about how I think they could beat the Devils in their building. You believe that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What about Boston?
Boston's a little tougher. You still have good veterans. I mean, Brad Marchand's still one of the best, forwards in this league. Patrice Bergeron. Pierre Bergeron hosts a little show called America's Funniest Home Videos, and Dancing with the Stars. But not to get them confused, this Bergeron that I'm speaking of is a great two-way center. Those pieces still haven't gone anywhere. And playing up in Boston, no matter what the sport, is always tough doings.
It's true, but I think that the youth will bring a lot of that fire and that intensity. And I think even if they take a loss in the first game in Boston, I think that will put a good seed in them and be like, you know what, next time we go into Boston, we're going to beat the shit out of them.
Oh, yeah?
I think that could happen. When you get a young team, they get dangerous over time, especially if you beat them once.
Hey, with the way things are going here with the roster-wise, we have a chance of beating anybody. Let me just say that. I mean, there's always a chance. Just tell me there's a chance. Yes, there is a chance. But are the Flyers going to go 82-0? No. So they got to lose some of these games.
Well, I mean, if the Legion of Doom and the Broad Street Bullies couldn't go 82-0 and the good team and the dominant teams of the 80s couldn't go 82-0, I don't think that's going to happen.
I was thinking about that. They tried with that 35er.
Yeah, they did try. They did try. I mean, and hell, if the Oilers of the Gretzky era couldn't go 82-0, then, I think it's pretty safe to say no one's going 82-0. I think it's safe to say.
Pardon me, maybe 68-0-14. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Does that work out math-wise? Yes.
That does.
What's up, Brian?
Real quick, I got Frank Vespi chiming in on YouTube saying, you guys look so relaxed.
Yes, we do.
Looking forward to Steve Mason return, but also the home opener. # fuck the Pens.
Oh, love it. I love it. I feel bad for the poor Islanders comment that I gave you last week, Frankie. I know you're a great Flyers fan as well. But, yeah, I don't know. Does it look unprofessional or I think it's good. I'm so tired right now.
I'm fine. This is real sports talk. Real sports talk's relaxing. Real sports talk's like, hi, we're going to talk about this. I got something up my butt because it's ESPN. But anyway, the worldwide leader of bullshit, as we like to call them here, because that's what they are.
I think that's the point Frank's making there.
By the way, the NHL Network is also the worldwide leader in bullshit. They put the Flyers in, and they said that they're not going to make the playoffs. Screw you. Flyers have a shot. Fuck you.
They have a shot, but I said this last week with our poll question, and I don't think they're making the playoffs. They'll be on the bubble, but they're not going to make it. It depends on where they put the Flyers, though.
Have faith.
I hate you. But you're realistic. Hey, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. Like I said, the schedule isn't easy. Definitely not really mixing words there.
But one last thing that I want to ask. Pittsburgh. Think we could beat them in their building? We used to be able to beat them in their building. We haven't been able to the last couple of years. You think it's this year that the Flyers could say, you know what? We could go to Pittsburgh and we could beat them.
They can. Yes, had the Penguins definitely dropped some pieces, you know what I mean, via free agency, via the expansion draft and Fleury, sure, right? Still a pretty dominant team, though. Any team that's got Crosby, Malkin, you got Connor Sheary, Brandon Rust. These are all good quality. Hornquist, Phil Kessel. It's a tall order, so it'll take a solid 60-minute effort in order for them to defeat them in their building.
Brian, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking they absolutely could beat. They could beat any team if they played the game that they're supposed to play and they stick to the game plan and all that. When the Console Energy, or whatever the hell it's called now, first opened up, the Flyers owned them.
Yes.
In that building.
They did.
And I think that could go back. I mean, some habits die hard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And, it's always a great rivalry, the Keystone State rivalry. And, anything can go down in those games.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two major rivals or the three that you got to look at this year. Obviously, Washington, New York, and Pittsburgh, not just because they're usually the 1 through 3 in the Metropolitan, but also because they are the three teams that right now your little brother looking up to the big brother. David versus Goliath matchups. Now, the Rangers are the ones that you have been saying are the most suspect out of the three, which I can definitely see where you're coming from on that one, because losing a lot of their pieces really hurts them big time. Does it destroy them? Absolutely not.
No,
but
they're still a pretty good team. Borderline great.
But definitely suspicious.
Right.
And definitely like, how long are they going to be able to hold that spot in the division?
Right. Well, you heard me on the show last season. I said Rangers are a great team. I don't like saying that, but it's true. I don't think you could call them a great team coming into the season. And, if you're a Ranger fan or just a hockey fan and you think I'm off base, comment. Let me know.
Yeah. Now, the rivalry that's really going to get intense probably this year, it's going to be a reignition, I think, of the Devils-Flyers rivalry. I think that's going to happen full force because
it should be.
The wild card is going to be the deciding factor between these two teams. And the Devils last year, they shat the bed, but this year is a new year, and they got the number 1 overall draft pick. They still have Taylor Hall. They still have a lot of good players. And they got Adam Henrique. They still got solid players. The question is, will they make it gel and make it stick this time? Because that's what's killing them, is they're not able to get that good play, full 82 out of the year. If they do, Flyers and Devils are like this all over again. Which will be great, because that means I get to really hate the Devils again. And I love hating the Devils. Who doesn't love hating the Devils?
Devils fans.
Well, do they exist?
They do.
Okay.
I mean, I don't
Josh
hate
Frank.
them.
Josh Frank, a huge fan of the show.
Oh, that's right. I
Despite
forgot.
our biasness towards the Flyers and Ducks.
You know what? That's great, though, because I love it. Because you want to know why? You feed off of each other.
Right.
You feed off that hatred.
Good buddy of mine, Bobby Lewandowski. I don't know if he's per se tuning in today, but I know he's a solid Devils fan. Can't say that for most, though, because a lot of times it's like they don't follow them until March.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And only if they're good.
Only
if they're
if
not
they're good,
good,
yeah.
I'm not a Devils fan,
I love that, too, about the
There's
Devils.
fraudulent in any fan base.
There is. I'm not going to lie. There's the front runners in the Flyers world. They're usually the drunk idiots that go to the playoff games and throw bands of Ed Snyder out to the ice in a game against Washington.
You're talking about the Eagles fans. Yeah. I'm getting killed for that comment.
Brian, how does that make you feel? Okay. I thought I was expecting a little bit more heated there, but okay.
Nah, to each his own.
To each his own, okay.
Whatever, I'm fraudulent.
All right.
Supposedly.
Well, the spelling. You know what the Eagles fans are? They're the spelling bee fans, because they always have to spell out the team name. And I've always thought, is that because if they don't, they'll forget how to spell the team's name? I mean, the New York Jets fans forget how to spell their name. Of course, no New York Jet fan is, a fan with pride anymore these days. But that's a different story, and that's a different sport. Screw that. But anyway.
Yes.
Either way, though, the Flyers should have a very interesting year. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hopefully the reignition of the Jersey-Philly rivalry kicks in full gear, and we can start hating the Devils full force this time around. Hopefully, looking at Sam Moran, maybe injuring Taylor Hall, putting him out for the rest of the year, that'd be nice. That'd be real nice. Like, give Hall a little concussion and he doesn't come back. Like, bye-bye, Hall. Don't need to deal with you no more. That's payback for Lindros, bitch.
I'm not saying that I hate on what you're saying there, but whenever you wish ill will on your opposition, that's when your team gets injured. So keep that shit to yourself, man.
Maybe it'll happen to Rocco Gudis. We won't need to worry about it.
There you go.
Anyway, there we go. Create another spot for somebody else. All right, but that'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. I am Massasoudi. That is the broken one, Brother William, Rob Povia. And we have the Darkwing, Brian Daly, behind the board. Folks, 82 games for the Flyers is coming up, as well as an entire NHL season going on around it. Are you excited? I'm excited. But sadly, our show has to end. We can't keep talking about it, even though we could talk about it for another 3 years. This has been the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. It is last call time for all of us here at A2DRadio.com. Just want to let you know about one of our sponsors before we head out. The Soap Stash. They have the new soap standard. You can give them a call at 844-890-3197, and you can visit them on the web at www.soapstash.com and place your order at Soap Stash LLC on Facebook using Messenger. This has been the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. From all of us here, take care, and hockey season's right around the corner. Peace, everyone.